Hey guys, welcome back. Last time we took apart the engine. I've cleaned up everything since then and got some new parts in. So we can go ahead and put everything back together. The next step would be to change all those seals in those pieces. I have a gasket kit, which I think I have everything. Just this one for the camshaft, but first let's get these ready and start assembling. It looks like my camera stopped recording again. I'm not sure why it is, but this one is done. Just hammer it in with a piece of wood and a rubber mallet so that it's flush. The next one is this. I like to use a bit of oil just to get it in easier. Sometimes you can even push them in by hand. Just make sure that it sits flat. Looks good to me. And then this one, I have here the O-ring. And the seal. So, just like that. Now we can move on to the engine and put these all on. Have here the screws cleaned up. I hope I have it the right way around. Just like so. I have a little bit of sealant underneath. Not much, just enough to cover it a bit. So let me put all those screws in and we go to the other side. So next I want to press out this bearing. I have here some offcuts from a friend. This is some kind of plastic and it fits pretty nice. So I just want to hit that out this way. And I have a bigger one that is just a bit bigger, which I can hammer it in. So I also want to make sure that it seats in the same depth, or something like this. So let's give it a try. Make sure that this plastic thing doesn't get stuck. That wasn't too hard. I have some bearing glue, some Loctite 638 I think, which is suited for this kind of application. But first let me get that piece out. There it is. You can see the wear marks here. That's the new one. I just have to make sure that this hole lines up with that hole in there. Right in here, if you can see that, there is the hole right in there. So let me clean this up and we try to press this one in. Now let me check the caliper. We still have to move in a bit. I've already cleaned this one up. Just put some oil on it. Hopefully the camera don't stop again. Carefully, careful. Nice even coat of oil on it. That should be good to go. So I just put that in. Leave that in there. So I just smeared on a bit on this one and oiled the shaft. Let me get some screws in and we continue from there. Not sure why the camera always stops recording, but I think I need to get another SD card. So and this hole is for the cover that goes on it. So a little bit of squeeze out, not much. So this just has some oil on it, no sealant whatsoever. And the two screws. Click. Click. So the next thing would be to assemble the wheel. Which is cleaned, and I also did some Loctite on the threads. I knew the original manual says you should put oil on it, but I don't really trust it because I have got some screws to come loose in the past, so I'm more about this. So put in the wood piece, just like that, and we are going to torque it down to 90 Newton meters. at first, and then it calls for an additional 90 degrees, but I think I'll just crank it down the best I can. So that should be 120 for the next one. That's 120, so not much, but the manual says for 90 degrees, which I'm going to attend. Next, we could put the head on, I think. I put back in this bushing where the slot faces the back side of the engine. Everything looks good. I have a new head gasket with the same thickness. I checked if there is any damage on it. It looks fine. So that goes on top like that. I also have some new screws which came pre-oiled, which is nice. I've also made sure to set the number 1 cylinder to top dead center. Top dead center? Yeah. Which is the way I took apart the engine, so that none of the valves collide. So, just carefully, just like that. Oh, let me get the screws in. So all the screws are in, hand tight. Now I start with 40 Newton meters. So let it sit for a while, and then after that I do it with 60. After that 60 plus 90 degrees, let it sit for a while, and then again another 90 degrees. But I won't show you that. So the same procedure as before. I put some oil on the seal on the inside and a bit into here, slide it on, push it in. I also like to dribble some oil on the crankshaft, camshaft I should say. Put the cap back on and tighten it with 25 Newton meters. I think I continue with the front of the engine. Put the oil filter housing back, and the water pump, vacuum pump over there. I've also replaced the O-ring with a new one which came in the kit. All screws are tightened, and now I can use the mounting screws from the 1.9 to attach it. And this one goes in here this way. This is just a support for the generator stand. So let's continue with the oil filter mounting. So the kit comes with a new gasket for it. I've cleaned up the housing. There is no sealant on that one. This has to wait, the vacuum pump, because of the oil pump. It's easier to put it in afterwards. This is the bracket for the fuel pump. This was the screw that was broke. I haven't had any other Allen screws in the right length. I have a new gasket for the oil cooler that needs to go on those standoffs, like so. And that seal goes on top. Which is just tightened lightly. You don't want to crush the oil cooler. So just that the gasket compresses. So I just removed the dipstick tube beforehand, tapped it out from underneath, and I'm going to shorten it about 7 centimeters. This collar from the end is about 4 centimeters. That's how deep it goes in the block. We need to cut away 6.5 centimeters overall. So that should be over here. And from that point, 4 centimeters should be the new bottom of the collar. I have to find something with a inner diameter of 10 millimeters and weld it on here. I found an M10 washer which I placed on here. But first let me get the oil pump on. For that I need to use the bolts from the 1.6 because of the ones from the 1.9 are longer, as you can see, by about 20 millimeters or so. So let me get that on and we can measure to there. I've measured the original dipstick from the 1.6 and it was the full length from this part was 16 centimeters. So that's what I'm aiming for. So let me get that tube in. Approximately to the part where the line is. Just tapping it in slightly, about that far in. So I need to put that connecting piece back on and slide in the dipstick too. So this should be 16 centimeters like this. I'm just going to glue it in with some sealant because it's pretty tight in there I don't think that this is gonna move from the force I'm going to apply by removing or inserting the dipstick. So just to be sure that nothing leaks out of there, and slide this washer down like so. Since we are already here and the oil pump is mounted, I can insert the vacuum pump. I've also changed the seal on here. Just like that. Screw on the hole down. So the one from the 1.9 are the holes upright, and on the 1.6 it's something like this. So it's pretty much parallel to the top and bottom of the engine. So I got a newer one from, I think that's a 1.9 liter Audi 80. That goes on there, and I have to change the coolant temp sensor from this style to this 2-prong push-in style, which has these retaining clips. So let's continue with the back side, with the intake and the exhaust. So now I can replace this stud, because the timing kit comes with a new one. And after this is replaced, I can continue putting on the plate that goes on here. So before I tighten these screws up, I just wanted to show you this line here on the pump should be about in line with this part here. If you can see, there's a piece protruding, and that should be one line. You can move it like this. And this one is the last. Now I can put all the pulleys back on. I've got a new one. Not new one, but I got a second-hand one, which I can use, which is in much better shape than the original one. Don't forget the key for the pump. Washer and the nut. I just clean this up a bit, just to be sure that it won't turn after it's been locked down. Now I can lock the camshaft. It's still in line with the face of the head. I've probably rechecked when the flywheel is on, if everything is in line. Push this lever up in its place. It's pretty hard to see, but I'll show you afterwards. Put on the nut and tighten it. There is a line here and the notch over there, and I need to tighten it so that they line up. Now I can lock it with a nut. Now I can lock the camshaft wheel. Remove the locking tool, aka 13mm spanner. Everything looks good. Now I can continue putting the cover on the generator and all the other bits. Just to make sure that nothing gets in there, I put the cover back on. Now I think we continue with the high pressure fuel lines and the valve cover. I also have a new seal for the valve cover, which comes in a kit where you have these rubber seals also included. And I also like to put just a bit of sealant in these inner corners and a bit in here. Just a tiny amount. And I managed to find a different valve cover without the huge dent. I hope this seals better than the old one. And the steel caps. And the 3 nuts. I have to still figure out something for the crankcase breather. Maybe some kind of a T-piece and then a 90-degree. Because the original one goes like this. And we need to find some way to maybe put a T in here and then 2 small pipes or hoses. We will see. I take this off. Sadly, I don't have the big straps that go on here. Maybe if one of you guys have some spare ones, text me please or write it in the comments. This generator and the bracket I found online. It is from a 1.9 liter TD engine. Which is perfect for me because I have no power steering or no AC. So this just minimizes the stuff. And this old nasty bracket where the tensioner always fails. I also ordered some cheap oil and an oil filter so I can check the oil level with that oil and maybe run it for, I don't know, a couple of days, and after that I can put in the good oil. So I just want to trim these paper gasket pieces which are underneath the covers on both sides, just to make sure that the oil pan sits flat. I've already cleaned out the holes when I cleaned everything up, so I just wipe everything down with some brake cleaner. oil pan cleaned up really nice. From the inside, of course. So let me get all those screws in and I bring you back after that is done. I'm just torquing it down evenly by hand. I cleaned out these 3 holes, which are not in use in a front wheel drive car, but the original mount to there. This one just uses the 4 holes, the same as there was in the Caddy or the Golf. And I think I saw a couple of holes in the muffler. I need to weld those up temporary. So it's almost finished, but this video got pretty long already, so I think we end it here. I have to get some other pieces and take the engine from the engine stand, and I think in the next video we are going to put it back in the car and try to start it. So I've ordered the belt, the water hose that goes on from the top to there. I need to figure out the way to connect this breather hose to those. I also need to put on the plate, which is over there, sorry, and the flywheel with the clutch. I also need to press in a needle bearing into the end of the crankshaft, which the T3 transmission needs to support the shaft from moving up and down. Oh yeah, replace these rubber mounts for the exhaust, also this one, and I think that's it. So guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you have any questions to ask, please leave them in the comments below. I do my best to answer them all. And see you next time.